and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. Today we will get an update from Quincy Chamber of Commerce President Tim Cahill. First, though, we take a look at the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, partly sunny out there. It's 39 degrees and windy, and there is a wind advisory in effect with gusts to 45 miles per hour out of the northwest throughout the day today. So hang on to your hats, and the wind's going to have a bite to it. Temperatures only into the mid-40s this afternoon. There's also a coastal flood watch in effect for high tide. That's coming up in about an hour from now, so we could have some issues along the Squantum Causeway and out on C Street again today, so do be aware of that. Temperatures dip into the 30s this evening. Nicer tomorrow with some sunshine and clouds. Still a little breezy. Highs tomorrow reaching up into the mid-50s. Still pretty nice on Wednesday, too, with partial sunshine. Highs in the low to mid-50s. And then really warming up here on Thursday. The high near 60 degrees. Looks like some wet weather moving in, but it should hold off until Thursday night. Right now, partly sunny, windy, and 39 degrees here in Quincy. Checking out news for you today. The next step in the plans for a new Squantum Elementary School in Quincy are moving forward. The Massachusetts School Building Authority has unanimously approved of the design plans for the new school. The board approved the proposal to preserve and restore the original 1919 portion of the building and demolish the additions. Now, the plans call for 3 two-story additions to the sides and back of the original building, creating an outdoor classroom right in the middle of the new complex. Preliminary site work could actually begin this summer, and actual construction is scheduled to start in September of 2025. The total cost of the project estimated at $107 million. That includes $83 million in construction costs. The state may reimburse Quincy for at least 50% of the construction costs of the new school. House lawmakers last week passed a $245 million supplemental budget to fund the migrant shelters and also make permanent some of the pandemic-era reforms. State Representative Tacky Chan of Quincy says the money is coming from federal grants that must be spent over the next 2 years.
This funding actually comes from leftover escrowed ARPA money. So thus far on spending on these emergency shelter situation has not been taxpayer funded in the sense of state taxpayer funded. It is remaining ARPA money. The ARPA money has to be spent by 2025. Governor Baker, I'm going to continue to complain about this, escrowed a lot of this money that none of us could find until Governor Healy came in. So love it when governors leave, you can actually start disclosing stuff that we didn't know about because the new governor found it. So all you Charlie Baker fans were like, oh, he's a great governor. Yeah, he hid $2 billion from us, letting you all know. So Governor Healy was able to locate that money, and that wasn't the time for him to get some of it spent. But that's kind of how it works. So that's where we are. So no state taxpayer money. It's remaining ARPA money. Ways and Means has already told us that it may be $1 billion next year. We don't put guardrails regarding limit people time in the facilities. It's just not going to maintain capacity. And, also remind folks they're not there indefinitely. Some folks are able to go sooner than others for different reasons. And I'm not going to lie, the housing shortage continues to be a major problem here.
The bill also limits the length of shelter stays to 9 months, with certain exceptions for pregnant women, veterans, and those who are working. And it provides $2,500 tax credits to businesses who provide workforce training for people in those shelters. The bill would also make permanent the to-go sales of alcohol, outdoor dining without state approval, and would allow nursing students to practice before graduating under proper supervision. The Senate has yet to take up that bill. Mannett Community Health Center of Quincy has announced its slate of officers for 2024 and welcomed some returning and new members as they begin the second of a 3-year strategic plan for the health center. Grace Murphy McAuliffe from Quincy will serve as board president for the 3rd consecutive year. McAuliffe is also CFO for Quincy Community Action Programs. Quincy resident and nurse Anita Christie will serve as vice president. Quincy attorney Ivan Wong is secretary. and retired attorney Bob Griffin of Quincy will serve as treasurer. Mannett now has 4 locations in Quincy, 1 in Hull, 1 in Attleboro, and 2 in Taunton, including the newly opened location in the Taunton Public Schools. There are 2 new drug-sniffing dogs on duty at the Quincy Police Department. Canines Coda and Milo joined the department last week after completing training at the Tar Heel Canine Center in North Carolina. Here, Officer Josh Walker is seen with Milo, and canine trainer Courtney Wright is with Coda. Coda will be teamed up with senior handler Officer Paul Foley. Quincy Police Chief Mark Kennedy says the new canines were purchased with assets seized during drug arrests. He says narcotic detection canines have become a key resource in assisting the drug control unit to remove illegal substances from the community. Quincy Fire Department recently raising $8,000 for the Cure Alzheimer's Fund during their 9th annual Bowl-a-thon held at a Lindy's in Quincy. An estimated 100 people participated in the event last month that featured a night of bowling, along with raffles, prizes, refreshments, and some entertainment. The Quincy Fire Department's hockey team even donated $1,000. To date, the event has raised over $30,000 for the Cure Alzheimer's Fund. That's our check of news for you today. Coming up, we sit down with Quincy Chamber of Commerce President Tim Cahill for an update. That's next. Welcome back. Time for a spring update from the Quincy Chamber of Commerce. Tim Cahill, president, has stopped on by to tell us what's happened already and what's coming up in 2024. Good to see you, Tim.
Good to see you too, Joe. Spring it doesn't feel like spring today, so we're I don't know if it's officially spring, but it is daylight savings. So I guess it's going to stay light and cold longer today.
That's March. That's typical March.
Yeah, I know.
That's
true.
exactly.
It's true. But I appreciate your confidence in the spring will be here.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's actually a week from tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, it hasn't been bad. I mean, considering some of the winters that we've lived through, I mean, I'm not complaining. And from a business perspective, it's good.
Okay.
Because you don't have to fight the snow. You're not giving people an excuse to stay indoors.
Ah,
so
yes.
It's good. It's not great for the Currys and the Home Depots and the places like that. But and for the plow drivers. But I think it just seems like it's a trend. It's going in that direction, so I'm not going to complain.
Knocking on all kinds of wood.
although we'll see, everyone will get rid of their plows and the trucks will go away, and then next year we'll have, 17 feet.
I remember April 1st, 1997 all too well, and I don't want to play that game
Well,
again.
thinking of putting out my deck furniture this weekend, Joe, so I could jinx it if I do.
That'll be your fault then, Tim.
I know,
you said it here, so
I know.
well, I'll blame you. What's the chamber been up to so far this year?
We've had a busy year.
Yeah,
it's been very busy. After hours events, before hours events. We've been doing a lot, and the chamber's grown. We added 16 new members.
Oh, what are you up
just
to
in
now?
the first 2 months. So it's just been really good getting the word out, getting new businesses to join, keeping our current folks
how many members now?
engaged. It's close to 500.
Okay.
So it's growing all the time. And the good news this year is not only are we growing, but we're retaining our members too, which means they seem to be happy with us. And they seem to be getting something out of it.
So they're getting a benefit, yeah.
I think they get something out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been active. We've been extremely active. I mean, I think we finished our Christmas market in early December, took a little downtime to get organized, and now we have probably our biggest one-day event, which is the showcase, annual meeting, business showcase that will be coming up 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Yep, March 26th.
It will definitely be spring by then, I guarantee you.
Okay, if you say so, Tim.
Yeah.
Let's see, so it's going to be 4:30 to 8:30 on the 26th up at Granite Links again.
Granite Links, our favorite place to go. It's great. Feels like you're outdoors even when you're inside.
All those windows, yeah.
All those windows and stuff. It's great for the showcase, the exhibitors. We have right now, as of today, I think we have almost all 50.
Okay.
We might be fully booked. I'm not 100% sure. There's still room to buy tickets, but I think we're booked for the exhibitors, and we get a nice program.
Tell us.
We'll be honoring the Galvin companies, Sean and Scott Galvin, developers here in Quincy for the last 30 years. So they are coming in as our as inductees to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay.
Business Hall of Fame. They'll be the 7th business inducted into our Hall of Fame, which we started in 2019.
Okay.
So that's exciting for
Yeah.
us. We're really excited. I mean, they've been such an important player, especially in the redevelopment of Quincy over the last 15 years.
Yes.
They've been at it a lot longer than that,
Yeah.
but these last 15 years they've made some real big strides, especially downtown. Their building on Cliveden Street was a precursor to what's happened downtown.
And they were one of the first.
Yeah, they
one of
were
the first, yeah.
definitely one of the first. Built some condos there. They're beautiful and full.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. It's all you can ask for, and a couple of retail tenants on the bottom floor, which is really nice as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get some more downtown, and it should be a busy year.
Well, I mean, you've got Atlantic and Fox Rock that have
Yeah.
got big developments planned right across from
yeah,
Jones
and then
Park
you've
there.
got Joey Akari in the old dollar store that
Right.
should be coming down soon and then going up, and
Yep.
hopefully the folks at LBC will start their project, which is opposite from
Right.
Cliveden Street
Yep.
this year. That's already permitted. So Square's doing well. The rest of the city is I mean, really come back strong since COVID. Really come back strong since COVID. I mean, the businesses, they continue to grow and they continue to come in to Quincy, which I think is really, really well. And this annual meeting really showcases that. So we'll have over 50 small, medium-sized businesses that will be exhibitors for the first 2 hours, so people can network and see what we have, and people can promote themselves, physically promote
Sure.
themselves, as opposed to just digitally or on social media.
No more virtual, right? It's,
Yeah, no,
it's
we
all-
stopped that a while ago, and
Yeah.
this has always been part of that. But I think it's grown in significance because people are much more intent on getting in front of people, physically getting in front of people.
Yep.
And then the program is to really honor the chamber of businesses. We've done that since 2019 by honoring some Hall of Famers. This year, in addition to the Hall of Fame, we are celebrating our 15th year anniversary this year.
Oh, okay.
As a standalone chamber,
Yeah.
separated from South Shore Chamber back in 2009. And we're going to honor the founders, the folks, the guys, men and women who created the chamber back in 2009.
And who are they, Tim?
I don't have the full list in
Oh,
front of me,
okay.
but they'll be headlined by Ed Cohane,
Oh, okay,
who
sure.
served as our first chair. We've got, I believe, 12, so you'll have to come
Okay.
to find out
We will
who
be
they
there,
all
by the
are,
way, yes.
who they all are and stuff. And they go, it's members who have been active, still active, and those that were there at the beginning. It includes one of our deceased members, Bruce Woods,
Sure, yeah.
who we named an award after. So in addition to the 2 awards, we'll also be giving out 2 grants, one named after Bruce Woods. This will be the 5th year that we've done that. Award $5,000 grant to a deserving business that not only has been successful, but also gives back to the community.
And who would that be?
Yeah, and then we don't have it yet.
Oh, you don't
We
have it
haven't
yet?
chosen
Oh,
We
okay.
won't be announcing it in advance, so you'll have to come and find out.
Okay.
It'll be a surprise.
Little teasers, yeah. Okay.
And then we have the Phyllis Godwin Woman in Business Award that will
Yes.
also be given out. So
Yeah.
that's for there'll be $12,500 in grants given out. That is to a woman-owned business
Okay.
that has committed themselves and have a good story to tell. It'll be chosen by Phyllis and her family on Wednesday.
Phyllis Godwin from Granite City Electric,
And then
yeah.
we have a committee of the Bruce Wood Grant Committee that will also be meeting on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we'll know, and then 2 weeks from now, everyone will know.
Oh, so this coming Wednesday?
This coming Wednesday, we're going to choose.
Okay.
The committees will choose
Okay.
who the deserve. We had over 40 applicants.
Wow.
So we had a good turnout of people who put their toe in the water. They filled out the application, and it was nice to see. It's nice to read through the applications and find out what these businesses are
I bet
doing.
you'll learn something, too,
We
right?
did learn something
Yeah.
great, and it just shows you what a great group of businesses we have,
Yeah.
both on the female side of
Yeah.
business, but also on the community side. So we really enjoy that because not only we look back on our businesses, I think Granite City just celebrated its 100th anniversary
incredible, yeah.
last year,
Wow.
and they were admitted to inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2021.
Okay.
actually in 2020, but we didn't meet in 2020, so they got in 2021.
The year that wasn't, right?
The year that wasn't, so that hurt. But Phyllis was there. Phyllis will be there again. She's still going strong and still active in her community and still active in the business community. And she's been a great mentor to me and to so many of us in the business community. So we're excited. What we try to do is bring the new, the current, and the old, or the history and the future together at our annual meeting. And the current businesses that are all actively involved, the 50 or 55 that will be out there exhibiting what they have and showing people and showcasing themselves, as well as the program, which updates everyone on what we've done over the past year, what the chamber has accomplished over the past year, but also what the city has accomplished over the past 15, 20, 30, 100 years. It goes. We go all the way back. It's a great way to showcase our city, to remember the past, but also to really honor the future as well. I mean, we're coming up on our 400th anniversary as
I was going to ask
settlement
about that. Yes.
Yeah, well, it's exciting, and I've been included in the mayor's sort of working group to see what we can do and how we celebrate. You'll have to talk to him specifically to get all the details, but those are currently being worked out. But one of the things that we're working on with him and with Ed Fitzgerald at the Quincy Historical Society is putting up more signage to signify the history of the city, the important places, the important businesses, the important buildings and structures, and obviously this building that we're in right now, the Thomas Crane Library, would be one of them.
Certainly.
So when people walk around the city, when visitors come or when residents walk around, they hopefully will get a flavor of, well, what is that building? What's behind there? How long has it been there?
It's a great idea. The Coddington Building is another example.
Coddington Building's
there's
another
so many
one.
in the city that people may have recognized all their lives but didn't know the history of.
And I think it's a great way to get people out on foot through the city. They can, you walk by something that you really just don't notice because you've driven by it 1,000 times.
Exactly.
And you're just trying to get through that light and you're not looking at stuff. So we're trying. We started a couple of years ago with the President's Trail.
That's
and
right.
we have some beautiful signs out on all the historically significant buildings that relate back to the Adamses and the Hancocks, the first and the second and the sixth president. And this will be an expansion of that. And so we're excited. Plus, the mayor, he loves events. He loves to do big things.
Yes.
So there's going to be parades and there's going to be, I'm sure, events around that, that 400th anniversary. I believe we're the 6th earliest settlement in Massachusetts.
Is that right?
And in the country, I believe, or certainly in the top 10 nationally. Depends if you add, Florida and Jamestown and places like that.
Yeah.
But we're certainly up there. We're ahead of Boston, and I think so. It will be good. I met with Ed Fitzgerald and his team last week just to go over and just to think about it. I mean, 400 years is a long time, and the city's just changed constantly. Each century, things change, and I think we've seen a lot of change. It kind of goes back to 100 years ago when the city really, the first skyscraper was built, the Granite Trust Building.
Sure.
And, commercial activity started, then that morphed into Shopperstown. And the city really took off 100 years ago as a city. Before that, we were a little town, kind of sleepy, maybe,
Well, it was agricultural based, right?
It was agricultural and
Fishing-based, right?
manufacturing based.
Yeah.
And now we've become a service industry,
Right.
a service city. With a ton of neighborhoods, a ton of restaurants, and some really, really strong commercial businesses. So it's so this event we have this year will tie into that event as well.
Okay.
And I'm excited about it. I love history. First job out of college was working for the Park Service at the old house.
Oh,
so,
interesting. Okay.
So I love history. I love looking into what got us started, how we got started here in Quincy,
Yeah.
why this is a special community.
Is the chamber itself planning anything specific for its 15th anniversary this year?
The annual meeting.
Okay.
The annual meeting will be our celebration,
That's the
and
big one,
we'll be honoring the founders. And it's probably not long enough to get into a big celebration. 15 years isn't a long time, but in reality, though,
Yeah.
the Quincy Chamber started in 1901. The Quincy Board of Trade was the first business organization, and then it became the South Shore Chamber,
Yep.
and then we split. So our history really goes back 125 years.
Okay.
So I guess we could technically celebrate our
Tap into that,
next year. We could celebrate our 125th anniversary if we really want to get back into
Well,
it.
you could partner up with the Quincy 400 celebration.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, someone dropped off a magazine last year about the history of the South Shore Chamber, and I knew that Quincy had sort of started originally, and then became Quincy South Shore, and then became South Shore. But I didn't know all the details. I mean, it started by Charles Francis Adams II.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
A benefactor and business leader in the city. And again, it was the Quincy Board of Trade, and then became the Quincy Chamber of Commerce, and then the South Shore, Quincy South Shore Chamber.
Yeah.
And what it does is it really tracks that, that century, the 20th century, from 1901 to 2001, about all the businesses. So you really see, Howard Johnson's, you see the Granite Trust Building, you see, it's just not just Quincy, it's the whole South Shore,
Sure.
but it really focuses the first 50, 75 years on Quincy.
Well, I mean, even today, it's still the only true city in Norfolk County.
Yes.
I mean, yes, we
Yes.
have mayors now in Braintree and Weymouth, but
Correct.
But still, as far as chartered as a city.
Yeah, and it's
the only one.
important for us to, as a chamber, I think, and for us as business leaders to support the growth and to explain it. We have an event coming up in April that we're going to have up at Ashland Park, which was the site of the former Quincy Hospital.
Sure.
It's just an after-hours event, but we're
Okay.
going to invite not just the business community, but the neighborhood, and some of the folks who used to work at the hospital.
Oh,
And
wow.
The event's going to be in the old administration building, and
Yep.
I don't know if you've been up there,
I
but
have, yeah.
it is really came out really nice.
Well, it's if you haven't been up there, and then you go up now, and
It's amazing.
It's amazing the
It's
difference.
amazing.
That
It's
that
amazing.
is
And,
made,
and
yeah.
you took a piece of property that wasn't generating anything,
Yeah.
and that could have turned into anything, and now you got housing. And they maintain that beautiful administration building,
It's still there.
which
Yep.
looks great on the outside, but looks even better on the inside.
I didn't go in. So,
Go
yeah.
inside. Well, I think it's. I don't want to say. I don't know what the date is, but we'll let you know. We'll
All
put it
right,
on the
so on
calendar.
your website, I'm sure.
Sometime in April. I think April 14th, I
Okay.
believe, is the date. Because we want people to, not just to drive by again, but to walk in and see it and see how it looks. It's built more like a campus than it is just like, it's not a high rise. They're 4-story buildings, and it was a very controversial project.
Oh, for sure.
Very large,
Yeah.
very controversial. And it's nice when it's not completely done, but it should almost be done by April.
Okay.
By April.
Okay.
All the fences should be down, and maybe not all the units will be open, but
Right.
it's half full now.
Well, there's a lot of outdoor amenities that I saw. Sitting areas, fire pits,
Swimming pool, I
things
mean,
like that. Yeah.
everything. And it is, I walk through it a lot because I
Yeah.
live up near there, and it's kind of like a little neighborhood. And you can
Yeah.
come out the other side and walk down to Glendale Road. There's a little path through the little park there and stuff. So it's, not everyone loves it,
Mm-hmm.
not everyone supports it, but I think it's worked out well for us because the building sat empty for a decade, and who knows what it would be used for if it was still sitting there. The state could come in and take it over and turn it into something that we couldn't control. And now we're going to have the next best thing to a hospital down the street in Quincy Center,
Yeah.
with Milton Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital building a medical facility. Not quite a hospital, but the closest thing you can get to a hospital, one that will service people in Quincy, so you don't have to go to South Shore or to Milton or even into Boston for minor things, and then refer you into Boston if you need major stuff. So it was a controversial move at the time to switch out that property and turn a hospital into an apartment complex, and then turn a parking lot into a hospital or a medical facility. But it's, that deal has been signed. I know Beth Israel Deaconess really wants to be here in Quincy, and they're going to move forward on it. And I think the dirt should be being dug up pretty soon.
Pretty soon, yeah.
So it's exciting. I
Yeah.
think it's a good. We got a great story. And you
How's
gotta-
the restaurant scene in Quincy Center? We've seen some transformations going on.
Yeah,
recently.
it's always evolving.
Yeah.
Some folks. I mean, we lost the Fat Cat this year, which
Right.
was sad.
Yeah.
And unfortunate, but we got a new Italian restaurant opening up across the street at the current LBC building, the Nova Apartments. They're working on it now, so they'll be here. We've had some new restaurants pop up, Vietnamese restaurant, and a little Asian lunch shop that's opened up. And then when Joey Akari comes in and builds his new building at the site of the Family Dollar store, there'll be a restaurant, 2-story restaurant, a part of
Right.
that. And then Jimmy Liang is coming up with a new restaurant at the old Masonic
Masonic
Temple.
yeah. I
which
see the Townsend rebranding itself too.
The Townsend. So, I mean, I think we're strong as ever.
Okay.
We've got a James Beard Award winner restaurant down in, small restaurant down in North Quincy in
Yes.
Norfolk Downs. I was down there, and a current Vietnamese restaurant is just rebranded as Le Meridien. I don't know what the name of it was before, on the corner. I was there for a grand reopening that they had
Yes.
last week.
Yeah.
So I think you're seeing a lot. There's a new wine bar restaurant opening up at Marina Bay this spring.
Which has its own chamber now, actually.
Yeah. And so, I think it's never easy. I know that from personal experience,
Right.
having been in the restaurant business. And COVID made it harder.
Sure.
But I think it's good. I think it's good.
Okay.
And we had a decent winter. We're hoping for a good summer. We didn't have a good summer last year because all it did was rain.
Rain, yes.
So, but we'll see. I mean, resiliency is part of the restaurant's DNA, so you have to be it. And I think Quincy's as good as anything.
Always great to see you, Tim.
Time flies.
Time flies.
Time flies.
Yeah,
But
appreciate
we look forward to having you guys up at the annual meeting.
We'll see you then.
To show the residents of Quincy, and hopefully the residents, as well as the business community, want to come up and visit us. We'd love to have them.
Excellent. Speaking of the weather, just enough time to check it for
Perfect.
you. Hang out of your hats out there today. It's going to be windy with temperatures only in the mid-40s down to the mid-30s this evening. A little better tomorrow and Wednesday, maybe some rain moving in, not till Thursday night, so enjoy it till then. Thanks to Tim Cahill for stopping by for an update.
Thank you, Joe. It's good to see you as always.
Likewise. Thanks to our crew, and thank you for watching. Friday here on the show, we're going to welcome members of the Urban League of Boston to the program. Meantime, check our website, qatv.org. All our latest programs are there, news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great week.